So, we are back with the Critical Reset podcast, and there is myself, Marky, who is going to be your MC for the evening, and the wonderful Eddie, who's probably bouncing around in anticipation over there.
Boing, 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 boing. Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Now
And
we're
we
gonna get
even
sued by
have
Disney.
sound effects.
Yep.
And then we also have, of course, Bulba, the man with the plan, over there, who is, of course, letting us use his platform to sit here and BS about games.
Well, it's all of our platform, but I'm pretty much the guy making sure everything runs smoothly on the stream.
That's why you're the man with the plan. I can't stream to save my life, so...
And he's here to crush balls and take my name at this point.
I don't think I'm the one going to be well, I might be crushing balls until we get to Nintendo.
Oh, good lord. So, as everybody knows, the big E3 actual pre-shows and such actually happened last week and ended on, I believe, Sunday, or was it Monday morning?
Tuesday, actually.
Yeah.
Tuesday, okay.
Because, yeah, Nintendo was Tuesday.
Fun times. So, stuff ended Tuesday, so we are now going to give our favorites of each conference for you guys. Please, by all means, do comment in the chat. Let us know exactly what you found with each conference as we go through it. If you have questions, feel free to ask questions because we love them and we'll totally answer them as time provides. When, you know, someone quits ranting about this, that, or the other thing.
Actually, we normally have a Q&A session at the end. So if it's something that I think is good, that somebody brings up, we can then talk about it. But yeah, Q&A.
Yeah, if it's something relevant to what we're talking about, we'll bring it up right away.
Yeah.
But we're going to go in the order that all of said things happened. So, to kick it off, we're starting with EA. Eddie?
One of the big things for me that stood out was A Way Out. This game is a very unique experience from the looks of things. Because you have a game from the makers of the Brothers series.
Well, it's a single game, dude.
Yeah, I'm saying it is a game from that company, or at least from the people who made that game. Pardon. It's completely and utterly co-op. And while you're playing the game, it's split screen the entire time. So, this unique looking experience, I really dig the vibe of it, because it's like, the story is, from what I gathered at the EA conference, is it's two dudes trying to break out of prison and go on this revenge tale. And I can completely dig that, just for like a setting and a vibe and everything else. And then just the ideal of the split screen co-op. Like, I know Bulb's got his thing on it. I'll pass it to him in just a moment. But it's just, like, I really enjoyed the look and the feel that came with A Way Out. And I know it's coming in early 2018, which is awesome. So it's just like, that's something I'm kind of looking forward to.
Yeah, and before we let Bulba chime in on this,
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to this because it's a new IP. It is something that is new from EA. It is something that looks fairly unique and it looks very clean. When you look at it, like, the graphics are really crisp. When they're outside, they're obviously outside. When they're inside, they're very obviously inside. So everything carries over nicely. The other thing is even though they don't show much how controls work, because this is gameplay footage that they show, you can see that, you know, I'm assuming that this is going to be single and co-op since you have two main protagonists, that you do need to help each other at points. There are probably going to be quick time events There are going to be fights. There are going to be spots where you have to use the ability to hide and conceal yourself because you are a prisoner on the run. And obviously, the revenge for whatever is going to be a major thing that is the end game for the game itself. But I'm hoping that this is really story rich and not just another we got to break out of prison, because I feel like we've had a lot of those games lately, both indie and non-indie, or break out of something. But I'm really excited for it. I'm looking forward to it as well.
Yeah, and just real quick, like, as soon as I saw, like, the trailer for it, I was like, wait, Prison Break the game? Because I love that TV series, and it's just like, barring the entirety, practically, of Season 4 of that series, I mean, hey, like, I just also got done watching Season 5 of it, so, alright, I'm done.
Bulba.
Smash my balls.
Yeah, first off, this is actually co-op only, from what I understand, what I've been looking at. They've outright said, this is a co-op only experience. You cannot play this game single player, and I don't have a problem with split-screen multiplayer. What I kind of do have a problem is they said split-screen multiplayer, whether you're playing local or online. And I'm not sure how I feel about that, to be honest. I mean, it does in some ways remind me of a 3D Escapist, but if I'm playing online with somebody, I'm not sure. I would much rather have a screen to myself than have my screen split up, and so that's why I'm a little bit iffy about this game. Why it didn't even register in my top 10, because if I'm by myself at a computer, even playing online co-op, I don't want the split screen. I feel that could be intrusive. It's okay if I'm physically with somebody, but otherwise, I think that's a lot to ask for. So, yeah, I'm not sure how excited I am about this game, to be honest.
Okay. Understandable. I can completely understand that one because I wasn't sure if it was going to be straight co-op, and if it is, Eddie totally got your back.
I got both y'all's backs on this one, if anything. Because it's just like, I'm pretty sure if like one of you decides to pick it up, I'm definitely down to play it.
I'll be picking it up. So, but the next thing for me is the excitement of the gloriousness that will be Star Wars Battlefront 2. Like, did you see those space battles? Can we just take a moment to appreciate it? If you've seen the trailer, you know what I'm talking about. Them space battles, bro. And the nice thing is that with the discussion and everything around it is finding out, honestly, that from Star Wars Battlefront 1, there is way more actual content to the game. There's going to be, I'm expecting a lot more story. I'm expecting a lot more like depth with the characters. Everything, like graphically, it looks amazing, and I'm thoroughly impressed, because I'm also thoroughly impressed that I didn't know that it was coming down the pipeline. I somehow missed that one.
Just like the best part from what I remember from the EA conference was that this game takes place between, as far as the single player campaign goes, between the 6th Star Wars movie and the 7th Star Wars movie. And then, of course, with the multiplayer and everything, you're going to have battlefields across all of the all the movies and places like that. And it's just like you just see how rich the environment is and how like a lot of the characters that you're gonna get to see, like Darth Maul, Rey, and just
I was going to say, I
Yoda.
believe this. I thought, from what I understood, it was supposed to be spanning the gap between the first three movies and the like prequel movies and the original three. Because I can't say the first three movies because then everybody automatically thinks 4, 5, 6. So, but
if anything, honest to goodness, I might be wrong. So, I mean, you definitely may have corrected me on that.
yeah.
So,
But
if
like,
anything,
as for anybody that is watching this right now, like watching them shift from what is obviously like cutscene, we're walking into battle, and then the actual gameplay is so seamless. There's barely a difference between the graphics, which is amazing, and I love it. And I like that obviously when you're moving on your own feet, there is some like swagger to your step. Your screen shakes naturally like it should. And then when they're, driving and walking on wonky contraptions, they're obviously like, oh God, where's the screen moving? But I'm really looking forward to it. So, Olba, if you feel the need to rain on my parade, go right on ahead. I can take it.
Well, I do want to kind of, again, as far as make sure as do some fact checking because I do know about what's going on with the single player and the multiplayer. And he's actually correct. The single player portion of the story actually follows a commander who was in the original Empire, and it begins at the fall of Endor, and it actually bridges the gap between Episode 6 and Episode 7. The multiplayer actually, they really don't care, so you're going to have battlefields that take place during the prequels, battlefields that take place during the original trilogy, and then battlefields and characters that actually take place during the new movies. So it's all across the gamut for multiplayer. But as far as the single-player campaign, that's essentially it's actually going to be a canonical story that happens between the two movies. So, as far as I remember when I was younger, I would love playing some of these Star Wars movies. I remember playing some of the original Battlefront games. I played the Rogue Squadron games. I'm just not into these type of games anymore. Maybe Battlefront, new Battlefront series would change my mind, but I don't know. That's just not for me. I do hear that they have made some improvements. They have made some changes to how heroes work in this game, so that it's not based on picking up a power-up on the field. It's based on things that you do in the game, so you can kind of earn these points or whatever, and you can that actually earns up to you becoming a hero. So you don't have people just camping these spots. You basically earn them by actually doing well in the game, which actually sounds like a good change. And then, of course, like you have the heroes range from like Darth Maul to Rey and Finn and Kylo Ren and all the heroes that you expect. So I mean, I think if EA shores up all of the weaknesses and all of the mistakes and problems from the last iteration of Battlefront, this could be the Star Wars game to watch, to look out for. So I'm actually going to be keeping an eye on it, and hopefully it's good. Part of me wants it to be good, but part of me also knows I'm not really going to be probably.
All right.
This.
Yeah. Okay, so for everyone's favorite section, any disappointments from EA?
Before I get into my disappointments, real quick, two things. One, when Bob was talking about the story stuff, nerd. And then,
I read.
I know. And then two, when it came to the weaknesses from the actual Star Wars, the previous thing, like them giving out the content for Battlefront 2, it being all free. Y'all learned at least. So, bravo. as far as my disappointments go when it came to EA, I really didn't have a humongous sort of thing. Like, I enjoyed the men in blazers part of it, but to be perfectly frank and perfectly honest, I also just zoned out on it when they were on. They had great energy, mind you, but it's just, they're talking about FIFA, and just when it comes to soccer, I completely zonk and zone out. They had a really good balance of things when I was watching the conference. Like, I told these guys beforehand, that I was going to treat each conference like a date in a sense. And so with this date, it was good. It was just one of those things where it was very what I expected. There was highs with, showing off some of the good and the new stuff, and then for me the lows were just showing off like the sports games, because it's just like I'm not into those sports games anymore. So I understand there are people who are, like, seeing the Madden that Madden 18 is actually getting a campaign mode, which is like, okay, that's cool, but I'm just like, eh. So
Okay. Bulba, did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
I think that if you're watching EA is about what you'd expect. We pretty much, if you go into expecting, like, for the most part, there's really not going to be much that's going to appeal to me, but there might be some surprises. That just means that the highs of EA are just going to be that much higher, and you're not going to care about the things you don't care about because, you're kind of expecting that. So, I'm not going to bash EA because they're EA. I wasn't holding high hopes in the first place. So just the fact that we got a few really cool announcements, that's fine by me.
Okay. The only problem that I have, and this may be a personal problem when it comes to EA, is that I really, really am bothered by the fact that when it comes to the sports games, if you're going to show off them all, because every single one has a new release every year. But also, because we know every single one has a release every freaking year, don't make it take up a majority of your show. Like, EA does great other games, but I don't feel like they get enough screen time when it comes to E3. Like, you could easily condense down FIFA, Madden, NBA Live, any other things, the NHL game, which they didn't even show, by the way, because apparently hockey fans just don't get to gleefully get excited over E3 at all. So I personally think if you're going to show them all, and show them all in a way that they get equal screen time, rather than, like, there was a ton of focus on FIFA this year, which I get because of some improvements and everything, but you can save that for closer to the release date to add more hype, because we already know, obviously, you're re-releasing this game because you're changing players, and there's probably been improvements that you're adding. So instead of just giving us what we expect, give us, like, short little, like, hey, this is what the new games look like little compilation video, and then wait for more details later. That's my opinion on it. So I could go on forever, so I'll just stop now, and we will move ahead to Microsoft. Eddie, why don't you take us off, sir?
So I'm sitting here, I'm doing my thing with the blog, and one of the trailers that comes up, Xbox One and Windows Live exclusive. I'm like, alright. So I see just these little tiny, or I see this little tiny tail that's kind of like orange and white. I'm like, I see you, Conker! I fucking see you! And then it's not Conker. I'm like, what? And it turns out to be this really cute and adorable new platformer called Super Lucky's Tale. And I'm looking at it from the people from Playful, and I'm just like, oh my god. I need this game in my life! Because I'm also reminded of, a little bit, because of like how the animation was, of Ukulele. Because of watching Ball Play recently, of course. And it's just, I saw this game, and I'm just like, I need this. Because it just looks so good. And so it's just like, okay, this want. Give me, please. I know, or at least if memory serves me correctly, it's coming out in November. So, I gotta make sure I got enough money saved up somewhere so that way I can start the winter/fall avalanche of video game goodness that is definitely coming down the pipe.
Also, I just have to say, Super Lucky's Tale just looks flipping adorable. I will play it just because it looks adorable.
Yes.
And you get to play a fox, and it's adorable.
Yep.
I could literally just say adorable a million times right now.
I know.
That's where I'm at. So, by the way, for everybody that is watching, if you want to see these gameplay videos, they are taken directly from the E3 conferences and are found on IGN's YouTube channel. If you can guess from the IGN logo down here at the bottom. But I did want to make that known. So we will go on to, I believe Bulba was going to start the avalanche of what this next one is.
I have to talk about Super Lucky's Tale. I'm sorry. Eddie,
Okay.
You might need surgery on your balls after this.
Why? Why did you do this to me, dude?
This is my most disappointing game of the Microsoft conference. And I'm going to tell you why. Because I've seen this game before. This is a port of an Oculus Rift game. And I actually have the review from Game Informer right here. I'm just going to read a little bit of it. Don't let Lucky's cape fool you. This fox is no superhero. Don't expect any evil crushing feats of strength from the woodland critter. Lucky can jump over narrow gaps and spin his tail to knock away enemies, but that's where his talents begin and end. Simplicity lords over Lucky's tail, leading to an adventure that rarely gets the blood pumping. It earned a... Whoa, sorry, I lost the footage. It earned a 6.5 from Game Informer back when it released on the Oculus Rift. Pretty much, if you... This doesn't have a lot of complexity for anybody who is even interested in platformers. This is my first platformer if you can't afford Kirby. This does not have the complexity of Ukulele, does not have the complexity of any sort of platformer. And I'm sorry, dude, I know your tastes as well as mine. I think you're going to be sorely disappointed when and if you play this game.
Then he can just mail me his copy and I will pay him back.
Yeah.
Because it's totally a me game.
It looks very... It does look very simple. It looks exactly like what it is. It's a very bare-bones platformer that does barely what it's supposed to do. And I'm not interested in it. And I love platformers, and you know I love platformers. But I can just tell watching from it, even if I did not know that this was a port of a failed Oculus Rift game, there's just not enough to really sate the appetites of anybody who loves the platformer genre. And I know this is the time where we're getting stuff like Ukulele, and I think there's a Hat in Time, and there are a lot of other really good platformers out there. So I just think this coming out right about now. It looks cute, it looks playful, it looks like something like Ukulele. But it is absolutely not the same thing. So, yeah, this is my disappointment of Microsoft's conference because they're essentially trying to repackage a failed kitty game for the VR headset.
All right. So, could have saved that for, the disappointments part at the end. Bloodface.
Yeah,
If
well, we
anything-
were talking about Super Lucky's Tale, so.
I was gonna say, if anything, it makes it where you can just skip over him at the disappointments at the end.
Pretty much. So, you wanna start off the next landfall? It's gonna be all of us gushing.
Go, Bob.
I need to get the trailer ready.
Okay, then Eddie can start the gushing. While Bulba does the legwork.
I need to finish the first game in this series. Because, if anything, I screwed up and fused the titles together of Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor, instead of calling it what it truly is, Middle-earth Shadow of War. Oh, some of the changes that you get to see from this. And then knowing also that if you fail an encampment this time around, that failure sticks. And it changes the course of the game. And it's just like, ooh, there's repercussions for you screwing up this time around. Ooh, ooh, give me. I really, really enjoyed the first Middle-earth game. It I had take at least 2 games. Batman Arkham and frickin' Assassin's Creed, and I fused them together. And I get this. I'm getting this game. I know this. I don't know when, but I'm flipping getting this.
All right, Bulba.
Can we just say right now, looking right here, Bruce is, if nothing else, Bruce is the highlight of this trailer. I freaking love Bruce.
Right, Bruce, because I remember now. Thank you. I remember him now.
So yeah, I was already kind of looking forward to this game. I mean, I have to finish playing the first one, but this was on the list of games that I was looking forward to, and pretty much just Bruce made my day. It wasn't necessarily for anything in the game. Like, the game was amazing as is. Like, I enjoyed what I saw, but I just love that character. I just want to play just to get that character, and I want to keep Bruce alive the entire game because I think I would think it'd be a hoot. I think it'd be just fun. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this game.
Okay. So my thing on it is everyone's pretty much covered the whole part of we're looking forward to it. We want it. We need to finish the other game. In my case, I literally have to delete stuff off my Xbox One to finish this game because it is stuffed full and I need a bigger hard drive. So that's my main thing is now it's the rush to beat the game before this comes out. I will say, though, I am slightly disappointed in some of the enemy graphics because I feel they're a little too cartoony when the humans look so real.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from there. I thought that they looked a little bit more simplified compared to the last game.
Yeah. So it's a small, very, very small amount of disappointment towards that. But, like, the fighting looks amazing. Bruce looks amazing. So
Bruce is just amazing in general. Okay? Can we just...
We'll just leave it at that.
Bruce is my spirit animal.
Bruce wins best character of E3.
Best new character.
Best new character from E3. So, but yeah, we're all 3 of us are really excited to play it. So I'm sure that once it comes out on this specific podcast, you guys are going to be hearing a lot about it, and you're just going to have to deal.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm
just assimilate and become one of us and just agree to disagree if you hate it.
I'm rewatching this and just like the lip pop. It's just like I just love that.
Yeah, and then of course, like I'm also looking forward to the Shadow of Mordor song or the Shadow of War song that will inevitably come from Miracle of Sound. I can't wait.
If he can get
you and your obsession with Miracle of Sound, dude.
He's so good.
Hey, as long as he can get an Australian
really
guy
good
to sing it, I'll be fine.
He's Irish.
Okay, let's not dwell on things that are not games and go off on too many tangents. We have a lot to talk about.
Yes, me too.
If we need to have a moment about that, we can do that next podcast when we're not discussing just E3. So, Bulb, there are another few games I believed you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, let me oh my word. Let me
I was gonna say I can continue to gush about Shadow of War.
Continue to gush about Shadow of War. I'll get the next one ready
and it's wonderful. And also, can we all admit that Flog looks like the cutest little itty bitty monster ever? And I kind of just want to hug him.
Yes.
So that would be
Bruce.
amazing. I would love it.
Yeah, just Bruce. That whole time.
Oh my word.
Distraction. What do you mean?
Oh yeah.
He's gonna be the one guy that when it comes time for domination, I'm sparing him.
Oh, absolutely. He has to live.
But what if he doesn't? What if you're forced to kill him?
I will find a way. Life will find a way, Marky. Life will find a way.
Bulba is going to defy the game devs and find a way to rewrite the story so that Bruce lives.
Yes.
New game.
New game. The third game will be all you play as Bruce. That's the third game. Just play as Bruce, kill things.
No, what I figure you'll do is if he dies at any point, you'll just go, no, fuck it, new game.
Reload my save.
Reset at last save point. Okay, thanks.
Reset at last save. You fucking killed him, I'm coming for you.
Either that, or if it's a story point, is I personally make it my job to track down whoever killed Bruce and put them through as much pain as humanly possible.
Sounds about right.
So,
moving away from Shadow of Mordor or Shadow of War,
I'm really not, as far as this next game. I'm not sure what I really. Eddie, do you want to? I don't know whether to call this a disappointment or pretty much just the big joke of. Anyway, BioWare introduced their new IP.
Yeah, they just let me just lob it up for you. They introduced it at the EA conference, and it's Anthem. They just kind of like hyped it up. They didn't really show much. They just showed like this 1 minute little clip trailer at the EA conference, and I'm at full freaking mast with like new IP / game hype boner, and then they go, and here's NBA Live, and I'm just like, and boom, there goes the now that you're right to the nuts. Thank you, EA. Then we get into the actual Microsoft conference. It's like, okay, this was the thing that was saved for last. So it's like, okay, Anthem, on the edge of my seat, and then I see it, and it's just like, oh.
I'm like watching this, and I'm going cool, like, and then we get into like the where right at this point in the trailer, and I'm going, I feel like I've seen this before. And then I remember about like 3 or 4 years ago, and I'm like, holy crap! They essentially stole and repurposed the Destiny trailer script. It's the exact same script, guys. It's a scripted multiplayer sequence between like this group of 2 or 3. You basically start off with your hero through their eyes. They're told to go do this one quest. They meet up with 1 or 2 of their other buddies, and they're going, well, what about insert name of other player here? He's off doing something. He says he'll join us later. And so they go off and they fly around, and then they get later on, and they kill some dudes, and then they get later on in the story mission, and a whole bunch of dudes start coming and they go, we need backup. And then the other guy who they said was going to join them later shows up and goes, hey, what did I miss? I mean, it's the exact same script. It's essentially the same sort of deal, only with exosuits that you can fly around in. It's essentially an open world. I don't want, not really open world, but essentially a consistent open world for multiplayer, MMO, where you can kind of just team up and just go do things with gunplay. I mean, it's kind of Destiny with exosuits, and the script for their first reveal trailer was almost essentially this exact same script from Destiny. And so, I mean, it looks beautiful, but I was just laughing the whole time because I'm going, holy crap, I've seen this game before. It's Destiny.
Yeah. If anything, I think we can all agree that when it comes right down to these trailers at this point, if the actual game developers actually do get to sit down and watch this, we are on to you. Gamers are already fucking on to you at this point. You can't sit here and try to download and plug in this simple BS discussion crap that you're trying to fake through. Stop with the faking of the mic shit. We do not talk like this as gamers. My God.
I think this is a trope that needs to die. The scripted multiplayer sequence.
Yeah, my thought is just, hey, choose random dudes from the office, throw them in the game, and record it. No scripts, no nothing.
Yeah, because at this point, either you're all working off a similar script, and we're starting to notice by now because it's a very similar type of game that, of course, we're going to immediately notice the similarities, or that there's only so many ways a script like this can go. Just if that's too much for you, just throw out the script. Just show us gameplay.
Yeah. Also, I want to add in that I feel like this is a Destiny Halo hybrid.
Yeah.
It really, really feels like it. Because it's not quite Destiny, but it's not quite Halo. But you combine the two, and they make kind of this, pretty on the outside, ugly on the inside child that has become this game.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure that once you play this game, there'll be a lot of differences, so it's not Destiny. But the script was just so similar that that's immediately what I thought.
Also, if anything, the sequence that they're showing right now on screen, this whole weather/tempest thing that's going on, I'm getting my Gears of War 4 vibe from it.
And hey, look, there are the mechanical dinosaurs from Horizon Zero Dawn.
So it's just like...
I mean, really, this is less of a reaction of a game we liked, and more of a thing of we can just throw the trailer up and just riff on it. Especially if we had sound. I mean, that's kind of what this is.
Yeah. So, I'm also going to take a minute before we move on to the next thing to play devil's advocate. One thing that I will point out is the horrific thing that happened with Destiny being a thing, and the lack of support that there was for it, and all the issues with it, is that this game does look like it's going to have more support. It does look like it's going to be more multiplayer friendly. Because, they already had a playable demo for the multiplayer itself. Even if it was scripted, they had it, and it was there, and we've seen it and how it should work. So I'm trying to hold on to hopes. I'm going to hold on to hopes that it's going to come out because you know what? I wouldn't mind playing it. Like, if I knew nothing of Destiny, if I knew nothing of that at all, I would be really interested in it. I would honestly really want to play it. But because of knowing the issues with Destiny and how quickly people played it, and then we're like, and we're done because there wasn't enough support for it. Um, I'm hoping, with all hope, that it'll be better off.
Yeah,
And if it comes back with amazing reviews, I'll try it. I'll totally give it a shot.
Oh yeah.
yeah, and there's definitely room in the gaming landscape for a game like this. But you have to understand that if you make a similar type of game, and um, if you make a similar type of game, and then you throw together a very similar type of gameplay reveal trailer, you're going to get comparisons. And I think that might be hard for that might be something that might be hard for Anthem to live down right now. They definitely didn't do themselves any favors there.
Yeah, it's the thing, as long as they don't overpromise and underdeliver in the way that Destiny did, we won't have a problem. So we're not sitting here discussing the potential of this game the rest of the night. Let's go ahead and move on to our next thing, which I believe is another thing people wanted to discuss.
No, this is your game.
You didn't want to talk about Ori and the Will o' the Wisps?
Was that next on the list?
Yeah.
That was before Anthem. You jumped to Anthem and skipped it.
Oh, crap. I have the wrong trailer up right now, so how about we leave that for last?
Okay, so go ahead. So, I am not only excited to potentially play this game myself, I'm excited to watch my boyfriend get overly frustrated and scream at it. So, it's like we're combining two of his favorite things, which is amazing anime and Dark Souls. So literally, I think someone like went into his dreams and pulled an idea and went, "Hey, let's try this. It sounds cool." But yeah, while we were prepping for the podcast today, he actually said if he could have already pre-ordered this game, it would be done and paid for. But I'm weird. I have a thing against scary games, so Dark Souls was never my thing because it just freaked me out too much. But I love watching them be played. So knowing that he's going to buy this, I'm totally going to attempt to play it myself because it looks fun. And the characters look awesome, and like I'm overhyped about it. I'm so overhyped, and I'm afraid that I'm going to be sorely disappointed when it comes out because of it. So,
Looks interesting.
Like,
Don't know about,
yeah,
about it, so
it looks really interesting, and I'm interested to see what it brings, because it almost has the way that I'll explain it, for those that for some reason don't like anime but love JRPGs, it's like combining a JRPG and Dark Souls. By the looks of it, that's the feeling I'm getting.
That.
So, like, combining the two things are totally a prospect I can get behind. So I'm really looking forward to this one. The only concern I have is making sure that there's a good balance, and this is always with new IPs. Something that I always want is a good balance between actual fighting and gameplay versus story, because I'm a sucker for a good story as well as good gameplay. So I want to see both. So do either of you have any thoughts on this one before we move on.
I forgot to give Bob his time on this one. Or Bob, are you good on this one?
I think Bulb was good on that one.
Alright, if anything, just real quick for me on Code Vein. I, as someone who played the Dark Souls series, I'm seriously on it. So,
yeah, and
I'll more or less probably take Adam's word for it at this point on it being either good or bad.
Yeah.
So,
all right. So, Bulba, I will pass it over to you.
Yeah, because I've already activated the thing, I think.
I know. I see.
I forgot that I did that. Anyway, I think this is the one trailer, I'm going to be honest, that I am kind of sad that we have the sound muted. Because this... I'm not sure, Mark, if you've played Ori and the Blind Forest.
I haven't played it, but I own it with the intention to play it.
The music...
if I ever find time.
Yeah, it has the main theme and all that, and it breaks your heart. When Eddie said, "Bulb, check out this trailer," and sent me the link to this trailer, I believe you sent me the link to this.
I'm more than likely I did, because I'm like, as soon as I saw this trailer, I'm like, is that what I think? I know Bulb's gonna flip his freaking wig when he sees this. Boom, throw it at him.
Here's the thing. Ori and the Blind Forest is one of the best Metroidvanias I have played in recent memory. I absolutely loved it. I actually went out and bought the Definitive Edition, and I plan on doing a long play of it for the channel. It's a beautiful game. It pretty much checks all the boxes off, and I think the story is very nice too. And the game is not afraid to hit you where it hurts in the feels. And here's the thing: this is a trailer that's just it doesn't show any gameplay. It's just orchestra. It's just the piano orchestration, and just these clips to kind of just get you interested in the game. And if you have played Ori and the Blind, I'm not sure if it'll do the same if you haven't played the game, but especially if you played Ori and the Blind Forest, you're going to get a lot more out of this trailer, I think, because it is kind of picking up from where the last game left off. And if you know anything, like, of the little owl creature at the end, if you know anything about what led up to why the little owl creature's there and all that stuff, it's incredibly sad. And they have the music, and then they show it. I'm like going, my heart's breaking already. I want to play this game. This is like, there are like 3 games this E3 where I saw either the reveal trailer or the gameplay trailer, watched them multiple times, and said, I have to play this game. And this was one of them. This is the first trailer I played multiple times. And I really want this game to come out. I'm ready to have my heart broken all over again. And I'm just even watching this with the music for the full effect, it's heartbreaking. Because I can kind of tell where they're going with this. And I feel sorry for that poor little owl. And I really don't want to get into spoilers for the other game, because I know you and Eddie haven't played it. I don't know if Link's played it or not, or anybody else who's watching it played it. And I am going to do a playthrough for Critical Reset. But I mean, yeah, this is just heartbreaking.
Aw, poor little sad owl guy.
Yeah.
This, like, I do plan on playing the actual game at some point, and it's just like, when I was hearing the piano orchestra, I love, if anything, I love a good piano. Because when it comes to music, for me, music always knows how to set a mood. And when you can set the mood right, and you combine it with good emotional story, you can evoke emotions within people that will get you exactly the desired outcome that you want. Like, I could give plentiful of examples, but that's not this is not the time nor the place for it.
Yeah, and if you notice, I ended it right there because I just wanted to end it on that note.
Yeah.
Because I feel you have to end seeing that trailer on that note. And I advise anybody, watch the full trailer with the music. Just, oh my word. I can't wait for this game. I really want to see it. I really want to play it.
One thing that I didn't put in our thing here that I'm just going to mention really quick that I'm really proud of Microsoft for doing is Microsoft is expanding their ID at Xbox or whatever the hell it is, the official like indie games on Xbox to be more inclusive and add more things. So I was really excited to see like the quick little blip of things to come for that. But I will leave that at that. Does anybody have disappointments for Microsoft?
Bob?
I think I already named mine, so...
Yes, you did, right.
Yeah, Bold doesn't get to talk.
Yeah, Bob, you get to sit there and keep your mouth shut. My disappointment from Microsoft was, when they did their Forza thing. Oh, hey, looky here, we're gonna put a Porsche, a live Porsche from the studio. It's like, I don't give a shit about the damn car that I can't afford. Show me the game, please. Show me the gameplay. Otherwise, when it comes down to Microsoft, as far as my date went with Microsoft went, we whined, we dined, we 69. I had a smoke afterwards, but I couldn't stick around long, so because of having my date later with Bethesda.
So, nice lead into that, Eddie, but I have a complaint for Microsoft. So I'm going to ruin it. But my only complaint at Microsoft, and I know that I'm going to get angry typing in a second from behind me, because we've had this discussion already, is the fact that it has only been 4 years since the Xbox One was released. And now we have the Xbox One X. And it is a ridiculously higher price. I know that like everything in it is upgraded and amazing. It's smaller, it's more compact, which is great. It's fabulous. But for those of us that try to keep up on top of things, because we do reviews and because we do podcasts and we do streaming and everything, like some of the little guys out there aren't going to be able to chuck $500 and all the taxes along with that to go get a new console right away. So, but yeah, it's just, I'm just frustrated with it because, like, I just feel like the Xbox One came out and then they had the S and now they've moved on to the Xbox One X, which, by the way, it's basically if you break it down, it ends up, the acronym ends up being Xbox, which is really, like, we've literally come full circle.
I'm actually confused now. I was assuming that the Xbox One X was just a new version of the Xbox One. Is it like a new console? Because
theoretically is. It theoretically is still the Xbox One. All Xbox One games and accessories will work with it, but the base console itself has more features, has better graphics, better hardware and everything. So it is a huge, vast improvement to the Xbox One itself. So it's practically what the Xbox One was supposed to be in the first originally. And I feel like they should have just held off on releasing the Xbox One until this version was ready. That's why I'm disappointed.
Yeah.
Hey, Bob.
What?
So excuse me as I get a little sour.
That's fine. If any, Bob, do you remember when I ranted in your ear hole about Microsoft not learning from Nintendo's mistakes?
Yeah, that's why I was confused, because I thought that it wasn't a new one, and then now you're saying there was just, as far as terms, it all sounded confusing.
Why not just leave it as the name Xbox Scorpio? Why you gotta fucking go and confuse consumers? Because, I mean, like, right here, literal example of a consumer of video games. And you're gonna confuse the ever-living piss out of them, or the ever-living piss out of their loved ones, if you... Going this route, Microsoft, did you not learn from Nintendo on the Wii U section side of things? But that's all for me.
But yeah, so that is my end to that. So now, as Eddie put it, let's go on our date with Bethesda.
Oh
which,
my.
I'm just going to say it before Eddie does, it was a train wreck. Oh man, like, your date showed up and she was trashed and didn't know what to do with herself and was only sober for like the last 30 minutes.
Somehow she did. We don't even want to say what she did to the table, but I think we're never going to be allowed in that restaurant again.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
Because here's what happened, okay? You know what? I'm always, if anything, when it came to Bethesda, after the last two showings, they were great. So I was expecting to come in, there was going to be this very, very beautiful individual in front of me, and I show up, I mean, she looks good, and then, you know, we go on our date, we do our thing, we go back to the hotel, I'm ready for the best night of my life. I get 3 tugs and like 2 licks, and she's like, alright, I'm done, and walks away, and I'm just like, hey, I didn't, come on, guys, like, Bethesda, you guys had it, you crushed it the last 2 years, and then it's just, what the hell, just what the hell? You crushed me. Completely crushed me.
The three of us have decided to basically take this one in the way of put the disappointments first, get it out of the system, and then we're going to talk about the 2 good things that popped out of Bethesda. And we're all going to tackle them because I'm pretty sure that we're all looking forward to them. At least Eddie and I know for sure, are looking forward to these 2.
I would if I had played any of the other ones.
So the second one that we're going to show, you don't have to play the first one. It was trash. But this one looks so much better. So, first one that we're going to talk about is Wolfenstein. So, Eddie, I will let you take this off.
Oh my.
Okay. So, if anything, like, watching the trailer for Wolfenstein, of course, we killing Nazis. Because that's what we do in Wolfenstein. Seeing in the actual trailer, seeing, like, Ku Klux Klanmen, I'm like, whoa! That's how we've gotten in video? Like we're actually able to do that in video games now? Cool! We can kill them too, potentially? Cool! So, I am all for, you know, take on the Nazis, as well as potentially shooting up Klansmen. In-game, of course. In-game. That's one thing I want to make clear.
You probably have to say the same thing for Nazis, because they exist in America now, so.
Different discussion for a different day, Bob.
And a different podcast.
Exactly. But just with this, it looks so good. And it's just one of those things where, like, this is what they ended the show with. So it's like, I'm glad this is how they ended the show. So, I'm throwing it around to whoever wants to go next.
I mean, it looks interesting. Looks like it'd be good.
Yeah. And my thing with it is, so, I'm a big, like, dystopian alternate history lover. Like, most people that listen to me talk about books are like, really, you're reading another alternate history or you're reading another dystopian book, and friends make untold amounts of fun of me because of it. But like when I was in history class, I loved learning about World War II. Um, One side of my family, one of my grandfathers served in it, and so like there's a family tie there, and I just wanted to learn about it and learn what he went through. And so the thought of this game, which is based in America, and it's if Germany had won and what could have happened. And just the thought of like the Nazis and the KKK coming together and being like, "Sup, bro? We totally support you. What's going on?" And teaming up, and you're like, "Oh God, run! Oh God, run!" That, and let's be honest, with the world as it is today, I will not mention names. Who doesn't feel the need to shoot some Nazis?
Or at least punch them.
Or at least punch them
Or at least
repeatedly.
punch them repeatedly.
So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. My problem is I haven't played any of the games because usually they are too uh, jump scary, like think fast games that I'm super horrible at. But I know for a fact that the boyfriend is super hyped about this one and is going to play it. So I will happily curl up on the couch and watch him play this.
I might even have to
So,
make it a point to try playing the last game, Wolfenstein: The New Order.
yeah.
But me and my ability to freely enjoy games.
But if you want to prep the next one, good sir, unless you had any other thoughts other than it looks really good.
Nah, it just looks really good.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, it does. It looks really good. Like facial expressions, because they do have some people that you get close to their faces that you can see the minuscule, like uncomfortable changes with their eyes, the uncomfortable changes in their expression with their mouth. Which when you're weird and like to people watch is things that you notice in games, and that amount of detail is great because it adds to the buildup of the anxiety of what are you supposed to do and the need to really fight to beat whatever you need to beat in the game. So the next one, as I told Bulba, you do not need to play the first one. You can pretend the first one completely didn't even exist. If you watch this trailer, I highly suggest watching it sound on and everything because it basically gives you a summation, kind of the first one, with little mentions here and there of things that have happened in the past. But we are going to be talking about, of course, The Evil Within 2, which has the trippiest trailer, by the way, that I've seen in a while. Can we just all agree on that right now?
I'll agree because I have no idea what's going on or anything.
It makes
No.
it's hard for it to make sense until a little bit later on. Like these opening scenes, you see things flying against the walls. You see things written in what looks like paint the color of blood, or it could just be blood. You see, ghost men coming in and killing people. So it's an interesting thing, and I think it's going to be more of a psychological horror type thing than anything. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing this played. Again, I usually don't do horror games on my own. So I am going to very much look forward to seeing the boyfriend play it and also seeing Let's Plays from people like Jesse Cox with the Scary Game Squad and watching Markiplier scream his head off at it and potentially the Game Grumps listening to Aaron and Danny cry over how terrifying it is. Like, it's going to be great. I'm so looking forward to all of those moments in my life because, yeah. So, Eddie, I will let you go on with this one.
Yeah, between this and there was one Microsoft trailer that looked like it was some serious freaking drugs. This was one of the trippiest trailers that I got to see out of E3. And then it's just like, I remember also when the trailer actually viewed and showed, there was at least a little bit of discomfort watching the small child light on fire. So it's just like, ooh, they actually went there with that. And if anything, I respect them for, being able to just be able to go that dark with this sort of thing. And that's the other thing, too. This game looks flipping dark as hell. And I love it because it looks so dark.
And it's weird because it's not like a dark, like the lighting and everything is dark. As you're seeing, like, he just went to grab a doll that you assume is his daughter's that you could see in the burning house there that he reached for. And it literally sucked his arm in and went into this black pool initially and then, slowly winds up his arm as like this white kind of thing. It's more of not the darkness of the game itself, it's the themes that are dark.
Yeah.
Because everyone, most kids will tell you when they're kids that they're afraid of the dark. But as you grow older, you learn that there are the dark things that are in the light. And I think this is trying to feed on that because it is more geared towards adults to play.
Oh, yeah. And if anything, I just love it.
I guess my question is, if the original game was supposedly so bad, why do we think this one's going to be any better?
So the reason the last one was really bad, from what I've gathered, because I never played it because of the reviews, was that it was really disjointed and didn't have like a cohesive story like to move forward through. But yeah, it's that it looks a lot better, obviously, game-wise. So,
storytelling-wise.
Of course, for other people in the room with me that can hear, I get a message that literally says, it basically got super weird at the end and nothing made much sense. Which is why, like, people bought it like crazy. But the ending was so weird and messed up that people were just like, what? And that's when it started getting bad reviews, is when people actually got to the end of the game. So, but it looks like they've improved on that. It looks like they have tried to move forward with a more cohesive story.
Or maybe just to answer the questions.
It actually looks really good.
So maybe that's what this game's going to be about, is just to answer the questions that people had about the first game.
Possibly. So it may be a game that you have to play both to get the whole story and everything from the first game, because things are answered in the second game, which I know has been done before in other games, but yeah. So we already went over our disappointment from Bethesda, so we don't need to readdress that. So we are actually going to move on to Ubisoft. And I believe the wonderful Sir Eddie of Dorkville over there is going to start us off on the hype train.
I didn't know what was going to happen. Because when, like, right before E3, we get this picture of Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. And you have all these different characters lined up, and you've got Rabbids dressed up as Mario characters, and I'm just like, okay, I want to see how this is going to look and how this is going to work. And it's just like, I was a little bit hyped, because it's just like, you're taking Mario, which is, of course, a childhood favorite kind of game, and you're taking Rabbids, which are these wacky and zany little frickin' rabbits that came out on the Wii. And they were just loud, and just, for me, it was stupid entertainment when I played the actual Rayman Raving Rabbids game. So we take these two different IPs and we fuse them together. But the curveball that comes in is when you throw in what, from the looks of the gameplay, XCOM. And I fucking love XCOM. So you've got these 3 games, or at least these 3 different ideas coming together in one formulated game. And I'm just like, I didn't know I needed that game until I actually bloody saw it. And plus, you're also seeing, like, the sassy Peach doing, going around on the actual Peach, kind of like, just, like, bitch, your dress ain't as good as mine. And of course, like, while also getting thrown around by this large plant and doing the selfie stick thing. It's just like, okay, signed, sealed, delivered. If I can get my hands on a Switch, Mario and Rabbids, I'm getting. Give me. I'll give it the floor to whoever else wants to go next.
I'm not sure how I feel about this game, to be honest. I just not sure how much I can get behind a game that's essentially Mario and Rabbids, and then it throws in XCOM. And the gameplay looks very interesting, but at the same time, I looked at Eddie. I'm like, I'm not sure this is an instant purchase for me. But then there's a lot of reports from people who were on the floor that this was a highlight of E3. So, yeah, I don't know. This sounds interesting. I just don't know whether this is a immediate purchase or not.
So, I have to agree with Bulba. It's one of those not sure if want things. Just because, like, it looks ridiculous. And it looks hilarious. But after you get over and past that, like, it's one of those, is it going to be worth the price point that they're going to set it at? Or is it one of those things you wait a while for it to drop and then pick up? I'm also wondering, because of some of the antics that they show in here, is it going to be so bad that it's actually kind of good? Like, one of those movies that's absolutely horrible, but you can't help but watching because it's hilarious because of how bad it is. So I have mixed feelings on it. I want it to be good because it looks dorky and hilarious and something that I'd have fun playing. But at the same time, I'm not quite so sure.
But then again, there's been a lot of other Nintendo-type crossover games recently that have been very good. You have, of course, all the Warriors games, and, of course, I did first impressions of Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE, which is essentially Shin Megami Tensei meets Fire Emblem. And that was a wonderful game. I loved it. So, I mean, Nintendo seems to be on a roll with these type of games. So, I'm going to go on a limb and say that the gameplay actually, if it is solid, like a lot of people are saying it is, XCOM X type of strategic gameplay, this may be a game to look out for. It may be a surprise hit.
All right. So, Eddie, any final thoughts before we switch to your next one, which I can only imagine the discussion that has happened.
Okay, to basically kind of lead into this one, so Bob, go ahead and get the trailer ready, because I know you both stated that, you know, like looking at this game, how it just looks zany, and, you know, like how you're just kind of like looking at it from just this, I don't know if I want this, and, you know, I may pick this up at some point sort of way. With the next game that I have to rant about, you didn't know you needed it in your life until you actually sat down and bloody played it. And of course, I'm talking about the first South Park Stick of Truth game. You pick up that game, and hearing about it just in conception, you're just like, wait, you mean to tell me that the people behind South Park, Trey Parker and Matt Stone, are going to sit down and make a video game? How the hell is this going to work? And so you go, okay, I don't know about this, so I'm going to sit and wait on it. And then you see when it comes out, it gets high praise and high reviews, and you're like, okay, let me pick it up and play it. And you're playing this zany freaking game. And I'm just like, okay, where can they go from here? And then you see from last year, the opening trailer. Alright, who put Stick of Truth in the toilet? That is not funny. It's a holy wreck. I love it. And I just love that quote. I will keep holding that one forever. But you take a look at them now doing this whole ideal of them doing like this Marvel / DC versus sort of just stupid, zany South Park shit that they always do. And it's just like, okay, you sold me on your first game. I got a real good kick and had fun with it. Now you're going with this one. I'm more than likely picking it up. I don't know when, but it's just give me this. Thank you, Trey Parker and Matt Stone, for going out of your way to make a game that I, again, didn't know I wanted until I actually got my hands on it.
All right, Boba, do you have any thoughts?
Well, we do know that come this RPG month in August, that I am due to actually play the Stick of Truth for first impressions.
Oh god, I can't wait.
But I actually also watched the gameplay reveal. Let me rephrase. I watched as much as I could of the gameplay reveal before I just turned it off. I'm not sure if I want this game. I'm really not. But I also know that if Stick of Truth delivers as far as RPGs and mechanics and stuff go, and actually counteracts... Number one, I'm not sure if this is the humor for me. But if the RPG delivers, then maybe I'll look forward to this. If it doesn't, this might just be a no-go for me.
Okay, that's completely understandable. I watched one of my favorite streamers actually play through this the night that it came out. I stayed up all night, watched him beat it in one shot because he was insane and so obsessed and was like, I need this in my life and I need it now. And it was so funny. It was so funny. I think this is a game better enjoyed, like, playing while hanging out with some friends that are there with you, simply because there's more people to laugh at the stupidity that happens. Because the first thing that you have to realize going into these games is it's South Park. It's going to be dirty, and it's going to be really, like, incredibly dirty humor, but you're going to laugh. Like, it's the kind of humor you can't help but laugh at. Mm-hmm. And I originally proclaimed last E3 that I needed to buy this game the day it came out because it was coming out on my birthday. And then they delayed it, and I got really sad. And then they delayed it again, and I got even more sad. So I'm at the point that I'm not sure it's meant to be because fate keeps taking it away from me. But I'm looking forward to it because it's dorky, it's silly. It's one of those games that you don't play because it's hard and you need a challenge. It's a game you play to laugh and have fun with. It's not something that you should be expecting like insane crazy bosses, insane crazy difficulty. It's literally something to have fun and laugh. So, and if anybody knows Matt Parker and or Trey Parker and Matt Stone, as I switch their names because brain, um, you know that if they think of it, no matter how horrific or horrible it is, they will go there. So don't like joke with them on X, Y, or Z and say you wouldn't dare do that because they'll be like, oh, we won't, huh? Oh, well, maybe we will. So I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be great. I hope. Otherwise I may cry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those where it's like I may just cry over this. So but I believe that Bulba is taking us off with this next one.
I'm just getting it prepared.
It's okay. While he's getting that prepared, I do want to remind you that Bulba is pulling all of these videos directly from IGN on YouTube. So please, by all means, if you do want to go listen to them and hear everything with sound, which we all highly recommend for all the ones that weren't on the list just to be made fun of, like Anthem, um, please go watch them, go listen to them, enjoy them in their full, like, amazingness, and just know that we did not make these videos. We were not at E3. We simply watched, enjoyed, and felt like putting our 2 cents in.
Yeah, and this one was an announcement that came out of nowhere, a trailer. I just loved watching it because it's just so enjoyable to watch. Come on, guys. From what I understand, this actually came at the end of Ubisoft's conference, and in my opinion, I think that means they ended on a high note.
Oh yeah.
Just this whole trailer is just so animated. The voice acting is incredible. That even if you didn't know what it was a trailer for, you'd be intrigued. And come on, guys, Beyond Good and Evil 2, it's finally happening. I've played a bit of the first game. I'm going to be finishing it up within the next few months. I have it on the console it originally came out on, which is the GameCube. So, and I've enjoyed a lot of what I played, and I'm really looking forward to this game. So, just the fact that if the game, as far as with production value and voice acting, animation, everything is just as good as this reveal trailer. Oh my word! This is probably one of my most anticipated games from this year's E3, with like one other game like maybe beating it. I just love this trailer. This was just something that was just so much fun to watch. I just wanted more of it. I was sad when it was over.
See, I have never played Beyond Good and Evil, so all I like knew of it was that there were a lot of people anticipating it, and I'd heard about people anticipating a second game in my, prowlings of the internet, and I was kind of like, well, I've never even heard of this game, and just kind of put it in the back of my mind because I didn't have the console that it came out on, so it was like, I can't do shenanigans about that. So, whatever. Just kind of passed it up, and then I remember seeing a tweet from Eddie about a certain man at Twitch having the most amazing reaction I have ever seen to an announcement of a game. And I about died laughing watching it. It was fabulous. But what got me excited about it wasn't the trailer itself, but watching all of the fans in the audience when the name dropped, when they realized what it was. Like, I haven't seen a standing room only E3 conference, but that's what I felt like we were looking at the end there. Because everyone was just so hyped up. So, Eddie, would you like to put in your 2 cents on this one?
Yeah, if anything, like, that was my first directed tweet. As soon as I saw the actual name drop, I'm like, okay, where's DJ Wheat? I need to see his reaction. Because I knew he was the guy who is at Twitch who was going to have the amazing reaction that I needed to see in my life when this game came out. And just seeing him just stand up in the middle of a room of people and just go, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, and Beyond Good and Evil 2, fuck yeah. And then just sit back down. It's just like, oh, Marcus, I love you so much.
And
Because it's just like, he was so ecstatic.
And the thing is that what you don't see before that is, like, that was after the end of the trailer. If you actually watch him watching the trailer, which is what I did because I found the extended version of that video, is like, he's like, no way. Like, you guys are joking me, right? Like, looking around at everybody at the table, because it seemed like someone in that room, or most of them, knew that this was dropping. And had congregated just to watch him react. And he's like, no way. And, like, he looks contemplative, and he looks, like, so calm. And then he stands up and starts that. It was fabulous. It was great.
Because they all had their phones out, too. Like, one phone's just like, record.
Yeah, there was one who almost constantly had their phone on him. Because they wanted his reaction to everything. And it was totally worth it. I think that's the best reaction that I've seen from someone from within the gaming industry of a game announcement. Because most of the time, they know what's coming.
Yeah, and I mean, it's an amazing trailer, but, you know, I don't want the whole thing of, well, I don't have the consoles released on. Guys, the original Beyond Good and Evil has been re-released, has had an HD re-release. It's on all available consoles right now. You can get the thing on Steam.
I'm downloading it right now because GOG is awesome.
So, yeah, Marky, you can definitely check it out. It's on Steam. Eddie's going to be playing it. Eddie's going to play it. I'm going to definitely try to finish it and 100%, which means I need to make sure I take photos of all the things.
Oh god, it's one of those games.
It's story-wise, it's a conspiracy story. It's wonderful. I know I've had fun with it, so yeah, I am definitely looking forward to this. I want to see more. There's also a lot of confusion because people don't know whether this is a sequel, a prequel, some sort of mix. All we know is what we've got here, and just for us to get more, I think that's good. That's enough that Ubisoft is actually finally answering the fans' prayers after all of this time. It's been what, about at least 15 years now,
Roughly.
Yeah.
Hey, it didn't get as bad as Duke Nukem. Just saying.
Yeah, just the fact that it's been teased and it's been a long road, and I am so happy and I'm so excited, and I'm not continuing to talk just so that I can draw this out and just end on the Beyond Good and Evil 2 title. No, I'm definitely not doing that.
You totally are. Okay. Bulba, can I ask for the next one, can I start the hype train between the two of us that's going to happen?
Sure.
Because I am so excited for the first time in a while on this franchise. So, after Assassin's Creed Black Flag, I felt like the next few games that came out, um, were they were forced. Like I felt like I was seeing things that were like, okay, they added multiplayer with Brotherhood. Okay, they added extra things with this. And but it didn't I didn't get invested in the potential story when seeing previews for the games. I didn't feel invested in any of the characters like I did in Assassin's Creed 3 and Black Flag, which are by far um, my favorites. So I kind of felt gypped. And now we're returning to Egypt is where we're going to be at. And we're at the start of the Brotherhood aspect of everything. So it is a Brotherhood type game, so I'm imagining that there's going to be obvious multiplayer chances. But this game looks beautiful. And like not only do the characters look beautiful, everything in town looks beautiful. In-game footage like this looks amazing. I love the new tracking bar up at the top. Because all the other ones that I've played, they've been the little circle things and everything gets like on top of each other and you can't read it to save your life. But I'm really enjoying the fact that they're kind of going back to their roots instead of being in more modern times like they did with Syndicate and everything, where that was more closer to that was the closest to modern times I believe that they got with any of the games, minus if you count the flashbacks to present day Desmond in the original games. So, but I'm really looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to checking out this particular section that you're seeing right here. I'm looking forward to seeing the new abilities that they add in, because obviously somehow you're able to possess or turn into an eagle somehow and kind of follow people, which will make some of those follow and get information things so much easier. Because God, were those the worst. That was the one thing I was the worst at in all the Assassin's Creed games. Like, I could sneak like none other when following someone and not get detected, but I was never close to not get detected and get the information. So, but I will turn it over to Bulba and let him continue the excitement for this for now.
Oh man, Here's the thing. I looked at these reveals and the trailers, and this game, just from everything I can see, reminds me so much of the original Assassin's Creed games. The best that the series has been with the first one, the second one, and Brotherhood. Yes, I do like the first Assassin's Creed game. That game is what convinced me to actually move into the current console generation and get an Xbox 360. It was current at the time, by the way. At that point, I pretty much was just sticking with like maybe a PlayStation, or if I I'd go PlayStation route or Nintendo. I was not interested in Xbox at all, and my cousin showed me this game, and yeah, I'll agree the first one had flaws, but I love the first game. Just the environment, and just when I was just watching him ride through the environment, everything reminded me so much of the first Assassin's Creed game. You don't know how good that feels, and just the fact that just how everything feels alive and just how you can move reminded me a lot of Brotherhood. And I just really hope that there actually is not multiplayer, because I don't think the Assassin's Creed series ever needed multiplayer. A lot of this looks like there probably isn't. If they're investing this much into the single player with the leveling up, I think they probably realized when things started to go downhill is when they started just trying to be like everybody else, not like them. And that's what happened with multiplayer. I don't think the series needs multiplayer, and I am happy if we never see multiplayer in the Assassin's Creed series again. But, I mean, this looks really good. Now, granted, I'm trying to play the games in order, for better or for worse, and I have a long way to get there. I'm trying to force myself to slog through Revelations right now. But just to say that this is the first time in a long while I'm actually excited about an Assassin's Creed game. I mean, I just hope that this is a return to form, and that this will be a game that I can look forward to getting to.
All right, Eddie, do you feel need to rain on our parades over here?
A little bit. Because...
Okay. Hit me where it hurts. I'm ready.
I'm gonna, because for one, Bob mentioned it. He's like, I gotta slog through Assassin's Creed Revelations. And I'll be perfectly honest, that game is a fucking slog. Like, I beat it in a week, if anything. I'm just like, what? I'm done? Seriously? And then this is how you basically tie up Ezio Auditore's story in this bow? Okay. Just, okay. This is how you wrap it up. And then we got into Assassin's Creed 3, which for me was just, Revelations for me was the downhill start. And then I played 3, and I was just like, I'm done with this series now. Like, because I mean, like, you had Black Flag, and like, I know that the whole sailing thing and being a pirate out on the seas is really interesting and really unique, at least for, you know, taking all the parts, like all the ship parts from 3 and just putting them in like one big game and one big sandbox. And it's just, I get it. That's fun for some people. Not my thing. I tried to pick up the new Black Flag on Xbox when they did the free month for it, and I just removed it from my Xbox after trying to play just a little bit of it, and it's just it didn't leap out and just cling to me. And then you saw the more or less just like Syndicate and all the other just bad that came from Assassin's Creed, because they just have to re-release it release it year after year after year, and it's just like you saw the quality of life with that game just hit rock bottom. And it's just like, okay, they took a year off. Okay, I'm looking at this new game, and I'm looking at it and I'm going, I agree with you guys. But at the same time, I'm going, I remember what they did with the older Assassin's Creed game, and where they had to take the year off to kind of make this and polish it up. For one, if they add multiplayer into this, I'm not going to be happy. Number 2, you have for this game, either $800 or $900 collector's edition for the game, and you don't get all the stuff for it. You're spending $800 or $900 to get one big like trophy like thing, and then whatever other little tinier things they'll shove into it. And if you're a collector / completionist sort of person who likes to collect all the stuff and all the artifacts or whatever for your gaming collection or whatever, you're going to have to spend out a lot of money to try to collect everything. Now, you're insane if you fucking do it, but like, I can take that part and just kind of like, I'm just going to ball that little opinion of mine and shove it up my own ass because, But it's just like, the combat's going to be different. I know that. I'm just looking at this and I'm going, I remember touching a hot oven when I was little. And it's just, I don't want to touch that hot oven again. So it's just like, that sort of mindset and mentality when you're going into it. You just gotta look at it and you gotta go, Okay, we'll see where this goes. We'll see where this goes. I hope it's good. If it turns out good and people gush and review over it and it gets really rave reviews, I'll more than likely pick it up. But for right now, I'm just going, please be good. Please be good. Please be good.
You're going to watch somebody else touch the hot stove before you decide to do it yourself.
Yeah, I'm really going to do that.
I totally get that. Like, I felt really burned after 3 because I can only half enjoy Black Flag because I suck at the boat parts.
Yeah!
I'm horrible at them.
And you shoved all that into one game!
Yeah. So, I feel like the boat parts were an addition that was unnecessary, in all honesty. But, like, 3 I loved because the alternate history addition to it. Like, I've already discussed my problems with being addicted to that type of thing, so we won't go there any further.
Yeah,
but
which reminds me to get back to the article.
It was by far one of my favorites. And honestly, I felt they could have ended at 3, left it there, and started something else. The other thing is that I feel that is kind of lacking is that, you know, we had the mystery to solve on Desmond's side of things, as well as his ancestors' side of things. So
yeah, I know that's not a popular opinion, but I actually liked both, not only the past gameplay, but also the present gameplay, and I understood how, you know, it was a good advancement for Brotherhood to basically make a lot of stuff in the present optional. But let's not forget, that's a huge part of the lore, and I actually enjoyed that part of the lore.
Yeah. But, so what I'm going to move on to is disappointments, and I'm going to steal Eddie's thunder in case he goes there. The only thing that has upset me about Ubisoft is her fabulousness and wonderfulness was not present to host. And y'all know I'm talking about Aisha Tyler. I'm so disappointed that she wasn't there because she made it hilarious to watch. Like, even the boring bits where they drone on and on and on while you're waiting for stuff, you know, she'd be off doing something crazy in the background or to the side and be on stage with these people to make it more interesting. So I missed Aisha. I hope they bring her back next year. That is literally my only disappointment from Ubisoft that I can officially give out. So, sorry, Eddie, for stealing your thunder.
Damn you, Maki! You stole me thunder! Yeah, that was my main big disappointment, is that she wasn't there. But if anything, like, I'll be perfectly honest, when it comes to my date with Ubisoft, they came to play. And I really, really enjoyed the dinner that I had, or at least the lunch that I had with them. I got away from my opinion on the Sony dinner date. So, well,
Ubisoft, yeah, they had a lot of really good announcements, and, you know, Ubisoft, I think, has years where, you know, where they're disappointing, or they're meh, or, you know, they're great. So, yeah, I think it would have been nice to have Aisha Tyler, but they really brought it in the gaming department this year, and I'm really happy with their announcement and with their show. So,
yeah, my only thing with Aisha Tyler was that she brought a little bit of personality to the non-game parts of the showcase, so it made it easier to wait out those long periods when they had to, like, set something up, or if there was a technical difficulty that they needed to work out real fast. Like, she really offset that. That's the only reason that I specifically brought that up. But yeah, Ubisoft really brought things to the table. I loved them bringing some new stuff, some old stuff, some really old stuff. But let's go ahead and move forward to Sony. And I believe that Eddie has so much to say about this first one.
I don't know as far as saying goes, but if there is at least right now one game that I can at least start out on that is going to convince me to pick up a PS4, or at least hope that for some reason Sony decides to start doing what Microsoft does and do crossplay with PC and things like that, it's God of War or Dad of War, whatever you want to call it. Kratos and the child and the Norse mythology that is surrounding this game, and just the blood and just give me some God of War. This is like one of the first times, because like I've seen God of War 1, 2, and 3, and it's just like this game right here alone makes me want to go back and actually attempt to go through those 3 games to be able to properly understand everything that's going to be surrounding Kratos himself. But it's just like I've seen reviews and I've seen discussions where God of War is concerned, so it's just like I know what I would be getting into when it came to those games. So really, if I wanted to, I could potentially just pick this game up and just play it. But just this game looks fan-frickin-tastic. And it's just like, especially right here, with this swamp/bog creature. Oh, it's just like, oh, I pass the floor at this point.
Yeah, and the thing that I have with this is that I have watched all the other God of Wars be played, so I had the opportunity to know the story of Kratos a lot better than the person playing, because they were more worried about other stuff going on. I absolutely am looking forward to this because I loved and still love Norse mythology. It's part of my heritage, so it hits close to home, and I really, 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 really am looking forward to seeing Kratos really out of his element. That's one thing that I don't think people are taking into account, is that he's technically Greek. And he's Greek or Roman, depending on, naming structures. But he's used to those gods. He's used to what they send his way and what they challenge him with. He doesn't know that much, I'd assume, about the Norse side of things. So he's going to be out of his element. He's going to have to play a lot of learning as I go. Like, for example, his son that you see walking with him in most of this trailer, he asks at one point because someone is speaking to him, and he says, "Can you translate for me? Because I don't speak that language." And his son translates for him, because his son grew up in the area versus Kratos, who obviously had not. You can still see that beneath all of the things that you would obviously need to survive in the weather of, like, Norway, the Danish areas, those parts of Europe, that besides having, like, the pants you would need, the extra, like, fur and everything that you would need to stay warm, to stay and be comfortable, there's still little hints of the classic Kratos costume and everything there. Also, I really want his axe. I really, really want it.
Yes.
It's pretty looking.
Yes.
So, Bulb, if you want to get stuff ready for yours, unless you have something to say on here.
Well, just in general, I haven't played any of the God of War games, and I'm not sure a lot of times. So that does affect my feelings on whether I'm excited about this game. But there are a few things like just watching Kratos' facial expressions. That there's a lot in this trailer, a lot that's expressed there that I think is very interesting as far as where the story could go. That might make me interested in just. I don't know whether to play the other God of War games because I'm not sure how much of that I'm really going to need to know if I decide to just jump into this one. Because this is like an older Kratos and a different Kratos, I think.
Not really, from the vibes that I'm getting because of things that are said in the actual. Yeah. Again, everyone, if you're watching, please go watch this. This is another one that I'm going to say, please go watch this live and with the sound on. But there's a lot of his backstory that plays into how he reacts and how he treats things here. And like those facial expressions that you're talking about that are interesting, there's reasons behind those. So if you don't want to go out and buy all 3 God of War games, I'm sure that there are some amazing Let's Players that have done full run-throughs of them that you can go watch and just invest that small amount of time into to watch those until this comes out to get caught up story-wise on everything that's happened.
Well, I'm sure even if I didn't, that stuff like God of War might be interesting first impressions at some point down the road.
Oh, yeah. We could just have a God of War month.
Well, that's assuming that I can complete games with it, finish or complete games within a week to be ready for the next one.
Sounds like you're taking a month off work. Let's go.
This better be paying well by then.
Hey, you never know. Eventually, maybe, hopefully.
All right. So, while the wonderful Bulba preps for the first thing that he's going to be talking about, I do want to take the moment here to thank everybody that has come into the stream so far. Thank everybody that may be back for putting up with our shenanigans for this long. I know that these are some pretty long podcasts for rebooting the podcast in general. Promise they're going to be a little bit shorter when it isn't a big event, but you can kind of expect the same format for future E3s from us. So I also want to point out that, again, all the videos are from IGN's YouTube channel. You can view them all there. They are the ones that were pulled directly from the E3. I'm assuming the E3 media stuff because of IGN. They got full like rips of everything and then put them up with their own added information and everything on them. So please do go ahead, and if you want to watch them in full, support IGN's YouTube and everything, and go there, check them out, and watch all of these except like any of these ones you're interested in that we're mentioning tonight. Please, 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 just go watch them there. It's totally worth it. So, Bulba, take it away.
I'm double checking to make sure everything's good. I'm double checking to make sure everything's good here. I saw a video issue, making sure that it's not. There's just an issue with the player and not. Okay, so this is probably the game, my #1 game of E3. Number one, I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. I have been collecting the comics since I was. Oh man, how old was I?
We had a grasshopper. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I'm not going to even get into what my collection is like, but suffice to say, I am a huge Spider-Man fan. I know that this was one of the games I was most interested in finding out more come to C3, and just this gameplay reveal. Yeah, I know it has some Arkham vibes to it, but I just think it works out so well for the character, and just when he's actually fighting, it actually is about as fluid as I would expect from the character. And I was probably one of the few people who actually got a lot of the references and knew a lot of what was going on. I mean, it was so rewarding being a Spider-Man fan, because just come on, Mr. Negative. Just the fact you have Mr. Negative for a villain that he's talking to Yuri Watanabe. That there's there are references on the side of buildings if you're paying attention. There's one sign I think that IGN pointed out that said Osborne for mayor. So I mean, just the fact that they're taking a lot of Spider-Man lore, then doing their own little takes on it, kind of like mixing things up, and I'm just really excited about this game. Now, there are a few things that I wish that we see in the final product. Like, I really want to see Peter quip more than he does here. Like, he is funny. He does, does say some one-liners, but I want him to quip more during battles. Because I will be happy if this is probably the best Spider. If we just have a really good Spider-Man game, and just the best that we have that just isn't just a shameless Arkham ripoff, but a superhero game that actually is true to the character's roots and how the character plays and acts and fights. And I just want a good Spider-Man game and a good Spider-Man story. And this game, which is by Insomniac Games, it looks like it's going to deliver, and I am really excited about that.
Okay, Eddie, did you have any comments?
I've got a couple, actually. Number one, for just to kind of run the reference, Spider-Man does whatever an Arkham can. I get it. I get people don't want a shameless Arkham ripoff. But I'm going to take a step back for a moment, and I'm going to say, what's the problem with it being an Arkham sort of like game? Because, to be perfectly freaking honest, when Batman Arkham Asylum came out, you had this game that, people were looking at it, it's like, okay, this trailer looks good, and the gameplay looks eh. And then you got into it, and you played it, and you're like, holy shit, this is good. If they basically do the same thing with Spider-Man, who fucking cares? It's a good... It comes out to be a good game. Good.
Maybe I should rephrase that. I don't want him to play like Batman.
Okay, I can understand that part, where you don't have to do, the whole dive or whatever. Okay, I get it. But it's just like, Arkham was a good game. So it's just like, I can see where it can get the ties to it, and that's fine as far as the marketing goes. Like, especially when it comes to word-of-mouth reviewing. Like, have you ever played a Batman Arkham game before? Boom, check this game out, if you have. Because it's, right there along that same line. Secondly, Insomniac. They've got some good games to their name. I give them that. So, I can look at this game and go, this is the second game that would make me go, I need a PS4. Because it's just, you've got Arkham, or not Arkham, but you got Spider-Man and you've got God of War. I have two games at least that make me go, maybe I can get a PS4 for these. Marky?
Yeah. My thing on it is, so I had to confirm something because I thought but he wasn't, on something that he had said, is I had originally thought that it was going to be a different person as Spider-Man, who is also in the comics, but he is in the game itself.
Yeah, I actually was going to wait until he actually appeared in the trailer playing until I mentioned that Miles Morales is in this game.
Yeah, because Miles Morales is also in the game, who plays Peter Parker, or plays Spider-Man instead of Peter Parker at a point. And so it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. Maybe the games are doing this to be as a trade-off where they introduce Miles and maybe they kind of do a passing of the suit over type thing in a way. Because we have had a few Spider-Man games in the past and they've been okay, but this one looks a lot better. Just like, first of all, the amount of space you have and like the size of the world seems to be bigger as I'm watching this. And when I watched it originally, like it looked like it was a lot bigger than the previous ones. My experience with the previous Spider-Man games was literally when I worked at GameStop and sat playing them on the demo console at work because there was nothing better to do because it was a GameStop that didn't have many people coming into it. Um, so, but I'm looking forward to that, to seeing what they're going to do with that. And I'm also looking forward to, if you actually have the sound on, again, please watch this with the sound on, you will hear that Peter is talking to Wilson Fisk. And if you know who that is, you know that he's actually a bad guy in New York and Hell's Kitchen. So it'll be interesting to find out why Spider-Man seems to be working with Wilson Fisk. Because there has to be a reason. So I'm looking forward to seeing what comes of that. That's what kind of has me sucked into this game currently, and makes me want to play it. But we'll see what happens as it gets closer to the actual release.
Yeah, it definitely looks like an enemy of my enemy sort of situation.
Yeah. That's what I'm assuming. It's going to be, you know, enemy of my enemy is my friend type thing with Wilson Fisk and Spider-Man. But Wilson Fisk is a lot smarter than people usually give him credit for. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah. So, yeah, this is pretty much one of the games I have on my list of the reason why I need to get a PS4. So, I imagine it's going to be
I already have a PS4, so I don't have to play the game of I really need one. Do. Well, I don't have one. My boyfriend has one. And I'll probably have to fight him for a chance to play it. So, as he's sitting here playing NHL and holding the controller away from me like a meanie face. Don't hiss at me. I'll cut you, bro. So, Bulba has a few games that he wanted to discuss. So, the next one, I have some wonderful comments for after you two are done.
So
But
I need
Bulba, take it away.
I need to preference this one. I remember reading in Game Informer when you of course this was before the PS4 and the Xbox One came out. You basically had in these tech conferences where they would kind of show off little what's the best way? They would show off videos using they would essentially create proof of concept type of videos with the new with new game engines or hardware for new consoles to kind of show what they were capable of. And I think it was like a new Unreal Engine trailer, Unreal Engine type trailer for the PS4, and they put together a short. And it was a short of this android being put together. I forget what it if I had the game for me, I could look it up. But basically, she basically becomes sentient. And one of the people there actually kind of discovers this, and there is actually a protocol that if they find out that this happens, that they're supposed to essentially shut the android down, decommission, and take them apart. And basically, she begs. She does not want to die. So the engineer, the engineer who's there, who's supposed to decommission her, basically decides against it and says, basically, it just says that basically for her to act like any normal android, because if they find out, they will take her apart. And so I guess the short ends where she's in a line of a lot of identical androids, and there's just this different facial expression. By the way, she's a character in this game. that short led to this game, and that game is Detroit Become Human. So that was just an intriguing concept. Marky, your thing is alternate histories.
Yeah,
I'm a big sci-fi fan, and it looks
I
like
can see it.
so I love these science fiction concepts, and just that idea appeals to me. I kind of want to play this game because I want to find out what happens in the story. I'm interested in the story of what happens when you basically have a few androids who become sentient, who are basically live in an environment that is completely against their existence, that they basically are this oppressed minority. And what do you do? And I think that's just such an intriguing concept. And the fact that they're leaving that up to the player of do you take the pacifist route? Do you try to, uh, do you try to bring about change peacefully, or do you take a violent route? Do you basically fight the system? And I think that especially today, that this is such an important game. I mean, yes, it's going to be an ambitious game, ambitious game, and I guess it's just going to be a question of can they do what they promise, as far as where each of your actions can actually affect the story, and basically you can and basically change your ending, or will this be a Mass Effect 3 situation? I mean, for one, I hope that their ambition is well founded. But yeah, this is a very ambitious title, but I don't want to play this game just because it's an ambitious title. I want to play this game because I think that this game is going to have a lot of important things to say, and as far as the story that it's going to tell, it's the type of story I'm intrigued by and I just want to play. And I'm here for the story and the story alone, and I just want to go along for the ride, and I want to see what this game has for me. And that's why it's one of my top 10 games from this E3.
Gotcha. So, Eddie, if you don't mind, I do have a few things to say on this one, which is going to be raining a little bit on Bulba's Parade.
Well,
So,
if anything, I'll keep it short and sweet then, so that way we can get to that. I like the look of the story, if anything. I like the pacifist/violent route. And it's just one of those things where it's like, it has some interest in it, but other than that, Marky.
okay, I'll admit, watching the trailer right now is the first time that I've watched this trailer. Simply because, only reason being because David Cage writes games that are all emotions, and they go in two directions. It is either extremely good or hilariously bad. There is no in-between when it comes to him. He wrote the stuff for the Fahrenheit Indigo Prophecy game. He did Beyond Two Souls and Heavy Rain. And then he also wrote Omicron the Nomad Soul. And they were, again, it was either they were good or they were hilariously bad. There was no in-between. Personally, bringing him up again, Boyfriend and I are looking forward to seeing one of our favorite YouTubers watch this or play this game, because they have played all of the past ones written by David Cage. And they've played all of them, done full playthroughs. Even if they're horrendously horrible, they force themselves to finish them. Sadly, because of the last David Cage one that they played, one of the members of the team that plays games on their channel, because they're a group of friends, left because he was literally too stressed out from everyone being mad at each other constantly because of how bad the game was. So I'm interested in the prospect of this game looking at it, I'm gonna have to, after this, follow my own instructions and go watch it with sound. Um, but again, it may be something I have to watch a like episode of a playthrough or two of this game before I consider buying it to see if it's actually worth it. Because I've watched all of the other ones that this writer has done, and it leaves me like, am I prepared for the feels that I could get? Am I prepared for the, oh God, this is so horrible, why did I do this? Like post buying regret that I may have. So it's one of those, I have to wait for it to release before I make a decision on if I'm going to buy it, because I want to see someone else play a little bit of it first.
Yeah, I understand. By the way, I was completely aware of his gameography, so I knew who was behind this. So
Yeah, that's the only thing that worries me, is because like he has such a back and forth track record that I'm not sure how good it's going to be. And because a lot of his games are very much story based, if you F up the story, what else is there?
exactly. But like I said, I'm intrigued by the story, so I want to take the ride and see where it takes me. And have we lost Marky?
I thought we
Uh,
lost to you.
yeah, I'm pretty sure we lost a U, because
Oh,
I heard what I believe was the start of the word risk, and then you cut out. But yeah, and as someone who loves sci-fi like you do, Bulb, I can see it being worth the risk for you. I can definitely see that. But it's one of those that I'm gonna wait for people I know or YouTubers that I have like religiously watched to give me an opinion on it before I actually jump in and commit the money to it. Um, but like graphically, it looks beautiful. The only thing I'm worried about is the story itself, because the story itself makes it a little hard um, to actually like. If it's not there, it's hard to play. I can understand Let's Players forcing themselves through to play something because they've committed to it, and for those that do YouTube or streaming like full time, that's in a sense their job, is to get through it so others don't have to, or to review a game so that people understand the frustrations that are there that they could come up against. But Bulba, I believe you had one final one that you just wanted to make a note of.
yeah, and I'm actually going to be showing. I am not going to be showing the. Let me actually just get it prepped here now. I'm actually not showing the trailer that was shown at one of the conferences, because I'm just going to be honest, the trailer's so bad. It's really bad. It's not going to get you interested in the game at all. I'm actually showing the first gameplay reveal trailer, um, because I think that's more important. I actually watched an interview with the IGN had with one of the developers, and they were playing a little bit of the game, and the developer actually went into this game, and so I'm intrigued, because after hearing a little bit about what they're trying to do with the game and seeing a little bit of gameplay, I'm not going to say this is a game I want to play necessarily, but I'm intrigued with the possibilities, and that's Vampire, or however you want to say it. So basically, you play as a doctor during turn of the century London. So we're talking about early 1900s. There's a Spanish flu epidemic, and you get turned into a vampire. So what the developers kind of said about the game is, number one, is it's open world-ish. And what I mean by open world-ish is it basically has a bunch of different districts. I kind of imagine what they're talking about when they talk about the different districts. There's something like Dishonored, Eddie, where you know how it's kind of like separated into these into these areas, but each of those areas are open.
Uh-huh.
I'm imagining that's what they're going for here. So you have each of these districts. Each of these districts have a bunch of citizens, and each of those citizens actually have their own daily lives and stories. So you can kind of follow them if you want to, and they each have their stories. They said that actually the main way that the character progresses and gets more powerful is you get more powerful by feeding on the citizens. And that if you just try to just feed on the enemies, it actually does not do it. So if you're like, well, I'm not going to kill all the innocents or the citizens roaming the city, I'll just drain the blood from my enemies. You're not going to level up.
That's jacked up.
They said in order to get the same amount of level up, you just to get as powerful as you would just draining a few citizens, you'd have to basically get into a bunch of battles, or you'd have to force yourself to get involved with all their daily lives and do a ton of side quests. So basically, there's the easy way to level up and grow more powerful, which is to feed on citizenry, or you can try to take the pacifist route, and you're going to be severely underpowered.
Hashtag forever the pacifist over here.
Yeah. So basically, and I'm intrigued by this concept of essentially putting you in the situation and then seeing what you as a player will do. They said that each citizen actually has their own story. They have their own their own
side quests,
schedules, and quests. And so you can kind of just follow them around. They have your own vision where you can follow them around, get in position, and then kind of just watch what happens. So you can kind of hear and figure out what happens, and you can, learn more about them. And the developers actually said, as far as whether you feed on anyone or not, that's going to be up to you. And if you just do feed on citizens, you can just go completely aggro and kill everybody, or you might set rules. They gave the example of you might go a Dexter route of maybe you follow citizens around and only kill and drain the ones who deserve it, or you do something in between. However, this is also ambitious because they said that anything you do, your actions in a district have consequences. So if you kill each district actually has you can actually check on the health of the district. This has to do with like the citizens about like how many are alive or dead or whatever, and that health will change depending on your actions. And if you get too murdery in a district, there will be changes such as a bunch of vampire hunters just show up in that district and try to kill you. So I think as far as this game goes, I think it's kind of ambitious in what it wants to do. I'm not sure if it's going to be successful. I'm not sure if this is something I'm interested in. But I'm at least intrigued by the idea of essentially presenting players with a moral quandary, and then seeing how, by essentially making them this monster, see how they react, whether they try to retain their humanity, or whether they set their own rules, or whether they just fully straight up murder everybody, or something in between. So I'm not sure. Again, this is not a highlight game for me. It was a game I was curious about, so I just had to do more research on, which is, I think that's sad to say that I actually had to look up other videos just to get more information about this game that actually made me care. Because if I just went by the conference trailer, this would be a no-go. But it's at least intriguing for me that I'm not sure whether this is a game I'd be interested in or not. I just want to keep tabs on this and see how this goes in the long run. I think it's an ambitious game, and definitely one to keep an eye out on in the future.
All right. Yeah, I had seen the initial reveal. I haven't seen this one. I can say that it does, look a little more polished and a little bit more interesting, obviously, than what was initially released. So,
Yeah,
I am,
that reveal trailer sucks. I'm just gonna say it.
yeah. So it's interesting. I do like the choice of you can go the way of literally draining the citizenry to level up and become ultimate vampire, or you can go the pacifist route, try to be a friend to the citizens and level up by getting to know them, doing their side quests, becoming a part of their lives, and basically like assimilating into their society and just feeding off the end. Um, so I do like that.
Yeah, when
So,
as long as games offer us choice and actually do it well, I'm all for it.
Yeah. I only have 3 questions at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Number 1, day-night cycle, yes or no?
No, it'll always be night because you're a freaking vampire. But you do have safe houses, and you'll rest there, and it'll advance the next day.
Okay, see, that was my thing. I'm just like, potential for day-night cycle for so I'm just like running around and I just see the sun start to come up. I'm like, oh shit, gotta get inside somewhere.
Yeah, maybe they'll change it in the future, but during the interview, the guy said it will always be night. So maybe if the sun comes out, that might be a game over.
Number 2, do you have to follow, I would say, classic vampire rules, like having to be invited into someone's house?
Yes.
Ooh,
Okay.
okay.
They said that they did pick and choose some rules, like you can see yourself in a mirror. There's some things that don't apply. There are other things that do. They said sunlight was a big one. You do have to be invited in, you know, and they said there's other things that they aren't revealing as of yet. It does look though that you're vulnerable to fire though.
well, that's expected because, technically you're dead.
Yeah.
Alright, 3rd question. Sparkle or explode in the sun?
I'm gonna say explode because
Oh my god, I can't believe we went there. The level to smack you, the want to smack you has never been so high. Just so you know, Eddie. Alright, so I'm gonna go into my 2 things that I absolutely love from Sony. First up is Uncharted Badass Chick Edition, also known as Uncharted The Lost Legacy. I'm excited for Uncharted to continue, but with different people. I have seen some of the original Uncharted games there. Nathan Drake is awesome, but in a world where gaming is really a male dominant thing, and I'm sure both of you can agree that it's very much a male dominant thing when it comes to the community and everything.
yeah.
Having amazing franchises and the actually come through and be like, hey, we're gonna go ahead and give you awesome female protagonists in our next game, and it's still going to be beautiful, it's still going to have a good story, still going to be just as much of a challenge, but for all of us girls that loved Lara Croft and the idea of that, action adventure type game mix, we now have another option. Because I loved the 2 most recent redos of Lara Croft. Absolutely loved it. I like that they downplayed the sexuality compared to before in it, and that they took it seriously. And I'm really hoping that this goes in the same direction. And it really does. Obviously, as you just watched one girl punch the other one in the face. So, I'm looking for that game that's brutally honest with emotions, and, it's not trying to, as a girl who plays games, I want to see games that have girls in them that, they're feisty. They have attitudes just like the guys. They have oh, this is dumb moments. We should have done this differently. I want to see them rise to a challenge the same way that men do because they're perfectly capable of doing so. And by the looks of it, this is going to fit that bill for me. And I am so stoked to be able to play it. Like, on top of it being absolutely beautiful. Like, the detail in everything when they're going through these ruins is just, God, it's amazing. Um, so do either of you have comments or feel the need to rain on my parade?
Keeping it
Please
short
don't
and
rain on
sweet
my
on,
parade.
I was gonna say keeping it short and sweet on my end. For one, another game to kind of throw out there for a strong female protagonist would be Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yes,
That game
I
is
agree.
amazing. My only other thing is yes, this game is fucking gorgeous and I love it. So, well,
Yeah, I mean, I figure we could do a whole discussion, I think, about how to do female characters correctly in games or just in indie media and just talk about feminism in games. But, this is not the time or the place, and this looks like a really good game. I haven't played any of the Uncharted games. It's on my list of things to do. But, this looks like a good game. I enjoy, like, the Tomb Raider games. I enjoy, like, Metroid. I enjoy pretty much any game that can give me a good characters, good gameplay, good story. I don't care what gender the main character is. Let's just do this and let's just have a good time and a fun time. And I'm all for it.
Right. All right. So my next one may cause me to potentially invest in the Sony VR system because my inner child saw this trailer come onto Sony's screen and I needed a moment. I really did. Because my inner child goes back to Redwall. So, Moss, the game, may be a reason why I'm like, I need to have this game. I need to get the VR headset, which I really don't want to do because it's stupid expensive. But, like, I want this game because all I can think of is Redwall and that series of books that was amazing and the adorable little mouse. And I want it. And it looks clean with graphics and everything, but it has a different look than some of the games we've been discussing where they're hyper realistic. This isn't that hyper realistic thing. It's kind of its own level of cartoony, but it's a unique style still. So I wouldn't call that it is, a complete and utter disappointment or, a hot mess. Yeah, it's just it looks like a good game. It looks like a solid VR game. I'm interested to see more on it as it gets closer to release. And it's one of those that I may have to watch someone play one small section of it just to be like, convince myself that I need to buy a VR system because that's a lot of money to put down. So go ahead, judge me. You're all allowed to have your moments.
Insert marquee statement here, bar buying the VR system.
Well, that's kind of, it does look very pretty, but that's also kind of why it didn't make it in my list was because it's a VR game, and I'm not going to invest in a VR headset or VR system or anything anytime soon, so that kind of determines where it lands on my list.
All right. So any official disappointments from PlayStation? Let's start with Eddie.
The date with Sony, it was bland. Like, it really was. Like, there were just a couple, like, sparks and just little intricate moments that I was like, all right, I'm good. But it's just, I got what I expected out of it. And I'm just like, man, I
kind of wish there was more. I kind of wish there was a bit more of a connection between us. Because, I mean, you really, just really got me with the first 2 games we discussed. Like, those two are just, And then Detroit, I'm just like, alright, you've got a little bit of a wild side to you, so it's just like, okay, I'm cool. But it's just, Bob?
I didn't watch, really didn't watch any of these conferences, so...
Okay, my only disappointment on the game side of things is if anyone was going to talk about it, I was expecting Sony. Knowing that Nintendo wouldn't, because Nintendo is the last one that we're going to go over. So Sony was my last hope to hear more information on Kingdom Hearts 3. And they let me down. So much disappointment. That's literally the only thing that I was upset about. Like, Sony brought some good games to the table. They really did. More than what we talked about. Like, there are ones that look really great that weren't mentioned because we tried to narrow it down to, like, 2 apiece. So...
And we did such a great job with that!
But it took me a lot of reflecting back to decide on 2. But yeah, I was really disappointed because they had the big, teaser that Kingdom Hearts 3 is in progress. Like, I don't care if it's just rough sketches. Show us where you're at. Like, we've been waiting so long for that game.
The sad part being is they've released... There's a trailer of Kingdom Hearts. I will grab it from a friend's wall and I will share it with you after this is all said and done. Because you deserve that much. And if anything, I have one more disappointment I need to tack on.
Okay.
And that's because I had almost escaped out of this year without having to see a fucking Call of Duty trailer. And they let me down.
You know what? I'm going to rain on your parade a little bit, Eddie. They're at least going back to the historical side of things with Call of Duty versus trying to do the, like, super, like, high-tech in the future type thing. So, I'm not going to probably play it myself because I'm tired of the constant Call of Duty redo. But, and I feel like I know that they did World War II before, but
The series started out in World War II.
Yeah, so I hope it's not a complete rehash. I hope that it's new. I hope that it's as amazing as Call of Duty fanboys are all hyped up about. It is something that I will gladly watch someone play through the actual, like, story. I won't watch them play multiplayer, but I'll watch them play through the story.
Can we just appreciate the irony that way back with the first Modern Warfare, the reason they moved to modern times was because that World War II shooters were getting stale, so they decided to freshen it up, and now they're going back to World War II just to freshen things up.
Okay, when you've left World War II because you needed to freshen things up, and so you go to Modern Warfare, and now you're going back to World War II to freshen things up, I think that's a sign that you need to start. So, that will be my final say on that. I believe that we are kicking off with Eddie on Pokemon here, or Nintendo here, with the mention, the slight tease that drove Eddie insane over Pokemon RPG.
Oh my word. I didn't even have to bust his balls on this one. Nintendo did it for me.
Just, here's the thing. This is what they do. They just come in and go, alright, hey, by the way, because you can't throw anything up because you fuckers. They just come in and go, oh yeah, by the way, we're releasing Pokken Tournament. You know, you've seen that footage. We showed it a little bit last week with our pre-E3 show. And just to let you guys know, yeah, we're doing a mainline Pokemon
RPG game on the Switch. What?
Yeah, thanks, bye.
And just come out maybe in a year or later, and just okay, thanks, bye. Going on, mother, you mother, come back here and show me shit.
You would not believe the text message thread I have when this happened. Just so everyone knows, it's beautiful.
I almost wish we had a copy that I could just put on screen.
I should have thought of that, Bulba. I so should have thought of that.
We need to do a lot of pre-thinking before these.
You guys you had it. Like you had Pokemon Coliseum and the Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness, and those were two really good mainline Pokemon series. Or at least I wouldn't say mainline. You had like two good offshoots of that series. And then you say, "Oh yeah, we're doing mainline." I can't do anything with this boner. I can't.
So, how I'm going to sum this up for everyone listening is that Eddie got permanent blue balls from Pokemon RPG from the tease that was there. So, I'm going to... Literally, Eddie has said anything any of us can do, whimper and cry and be upset that they didn't tell us more about this RPG. As a childhood and adult Pokemon fan, like, I want this. But I'm going to take over for a moment and discuss my favorite adorable Nintendo green little monster that I love so dearly. And talk about his Yarny world of Yoshi World. Because amazing.
Is it
and
actually
adorable.
called Yoshi World?
Yeah, they're calling it Yoshi World.
Oh, okay. They just had Yoshi up there when they premiered it.
Yeah, it's Yoshi World. And, like, I know that in, like, all of the things where I've seen him up close, like, he's still made of yarn, which is adorable. So, but 2018 cannot come soon enough. I love that Mario went from just Mario to having Luigi games and having Yoshi games, and I'd love to see more of both of those, as well as seeing like, I'd love to see one where Princess Peach decides to, kick Bowser in the face. That'd be amazing. But
don't we have that? Wasn't it called Super Princess Peach?
Probably, but I never played it because I didn't have the handheld, because I remember it was on handheld.
Yeah, it was on the DS.
Yeah. I didn't have the handheld at the time.
Yeah,
but
you know what her powers were? Emotion!
I don't even want to know because, I was going to say, I don't even want to know because feminist side of me is not willing to come out crap. And I can't fight that battle with my brain right now. So let's not go there. But yeah, like, this game looks adorable. It looks like there's obviously co-op options, as you can see Green Yoshi and Red Yoshi here helping a brother out as they're playing. So I'm really looking forward to it. And considering some of the things that have been announced for, I'm now sitting here going, damn it, I have to buy another console, even though I knew eventually it would come to this. But so, Bulb, if you want to prep the next one, this next one, as I marked on our agenda, is being done by the Three Amigos, because all of us wanted to do it, which is why you haven't heard Bulba talk yet. And Eddie and I both only did one game individually.
Yeah, and the thing being
because
is, like,
the next two games, there were going to be fist fights verbally over the internet.
Yeah.
On who got to talk about them.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, just to kind of, like, while Bob does his thing in prepping, the first person who I thought of when I saw the Yoshi thing was Nintendo Capri Sun, because it's just, like, he's a person who has played Yoshi doing the Mario Party boards and always trademarked the "so happy" tag phrase with him, so it's just like, yeah. NCS was my first go-to on this one, and I forgot Kirby in my thing till now, but I'm not going into Kirby because we are running almost practically 3 damn hours. Bobby
Yeah,
repped.
7 minutes from 3 hours. We'll be fine.
Bubba,
Yes.
are we good?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So let's take a jump into Super Mario Odyssey. What's that? A T-Rex wearing a Mario hat? You bet it is. Shabam! T-Rex butt.
Okay.
Just turn so we can see the adorable hat on your head.
Oh.
Yeah! Look at that hat.
So yeah, Super Mario Odyssey. I actually did watch. I think it was Rooster Teeth. Like they actually sat down with somebody from Nintendo of America, and they actually got to see actual gameplay. And so I've actually seen some gameplay from this game.
Is it as amazing as it looks?
It's better because, to be honest, I really was not sold by. I have not been sold by any of the Odyssey trailers. And I like to see.
I was sold by this one because T-Rex with a Mario hat.
I'd like to see more. I think of the gameplay, but it looks to be really solid. With there does seem to be puzzles and such that are actually built around you actually possessing certain enemies and items. The main collectible in this game is actually the super moons, those green moons. And something that other collectathon games have done that Mario has never been able to do, this game now does, which is the fact that once you collect a super moon, you do not get booted out to the main hub, you continue playing. It's taken how long for Mario to actually do this? When Rare was doing this way back in the N64 era? I don't know. But, yeah, Mario's doing that now.
Also, I need to interrupt for a thing that just, happened on screen in the middle of the last little bit of your rant there. Did I see Peach in a wedding dress? Are they finally, taking that jump? Because that would be nice.
Yeah,
taking that jump with her
my little
dress.
kid emotions feel validated because when I remember as a little kid when my dad explained to me that Mario and Peach weren't married, I was very upset.
And by the way,
I don't remember why I was upset.
That's not for the Mario and Peach wedding.
It's for the Bowser and
yeah.
But they showed Mario in a white suit. He's totally gonna save the day and marry his girl. If he likes it, he's got to put a ring on it.
Yeah, just steal Bowser's ring, dude. Just boop.
Dude, if he stole Bowser's ring, he could wear it as a belt.
Fair.
Let's do that. Make it canon. Let's make this canon.
If anything, I mean, first of all, if you listen to this, if you actually go on and you actually listen to the trailer, this song is going to get stuck in your flippin' head. So
yes, it will.
just earworm incoming. Secondly, the gameplay that I did actually get to see through the treehouse. Man, does this game look fun. And plus, you're able to possess crap with Mario. That's new. And I like it. So it's just that's what I'm looking to dig into, and that's what I'm looking forward to. So
of course, I'm not committing on anything because you know me. I don't immediately go bonkers with a new Mario game, although eventually I'll play them. So
yeah.
Can I just say the idea of being a bullet bill or one of the Fijis is the best.
Can I also one thing that I did notice that was really cool was of course you had the health kind of bar of that has 3 health, kind of like what Galaxy had. But something that is different from any other Mario 3D platformer, you do not regain health by getting coins.
What?
So that means this Mario game is also going to be more challenging, and I am all up for that.
And if anything, your lives are more coin slash whatever based rather than being actual live based. So
Yeah.
they're easing up on the difficulty on that end as well.
So they're upping the difficulty as far as how you, as far as your health, but easing the difficulty down on the lives.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they can do kind of what Ukulele or any modern collectathons do, which basically you have unlimited continues, but you can still die.
Maybe. I mean, like, I know you can die, but I don't know.
But we'll have to wait and see.
Yes.
I'm probably not as gaga with this game as you guys are, but it does look like it's going to be good.
It's got some potential, and it has
Yeah.
some new mechanics that it can really get behind.
Plus, it's beautiful as all get out.
For the sake of time, because our poor viewers that watch this on YouTube are going to hate us since we have hit 3 hours. Let's move on to the final one.
Yeah. And Bob, you got this one.
1 second, I need to get things ready.
Of course he does. But yeah, if anything, for one, apologies for running 3 hours. This isn't going to happen nearly as much until we actually get these big events. For one.
So next week's podcast, you guys can look forward to a nice, easy, hour and a half max.
Definitely listen to this if you're working out.
Yeah, definitely going to. I think we're going to need to skip the Q&A. But let's just talk about the Metroid games. I'm not going to show anything from Metroid Prime 4 because we really did not get anything. And I'm just going to call that the theme of the Nintendo conference of let's not show you pretty much anything you need to kind of make to basically get any sort of feel of whether you want it or not. What I'm showing you here, this game wasn't even announced at the conference.
That pisses me off for that matter.
They pretty much just... Here's the thing. Everybody knew Metroid Prime 4 was coming. It was the worst kept secret going into E3. And the thing, the fact of the matter is, what do we get? We just got a thing of Metroid Prime 4. We didn't even get any reveal trailer or any gameplay footage.
All y'all got was literally the release of the name.
Yeah, and that's kind of disappointing, seeing as everybody knew it was coming.
Blue balls.
At least when having some sort of anime release trailer, even though it wouldn't be representative of the game, would have done more. So that was kind of disappointing because I feel that we really should have gotten more, or either that or they just should have just said, Metroid Prime 4 is coming. But by that point, it's not even worth it because everybody knew Metroid Prime 4 was coming. They didn't even need to announce it. So that was kind of disappointing. And this game should have been a big announcement. We should have seen the trailer during the conference or their treehouse or whatever.
So, 1 second, before you move away from Metroid Prime 4, I do have one thing to say about it.
Yeah.
Playing devil's advocate again here. We don't know that they didn't have, a playable demo on the floor.
Actually, we do.
But, well, I don't keep up with the conference actually going on after the fact. But, sometimes you don't know what they have on the floor because it is a developers conference. That's something that they may have held off on because they wanted to save that. Just trying to play devil's advocate. Freaking rain on my parade. Fine.
What there?
Go on. I'm done talking.
what they're gonna do is they're gonna wait like 2 months down the road and then go, oh yeah, by the way, remember back at E3 when we announced Metroid Prime 4? Here's some gameplay footage.
But that's going to be even worse because essentially, you should have done it then.
If anything, you ought to know, just as well as I fucking know, Nintendo does the biggest case of blue balls at E3, and then like 2 to 3 months down the road, they do this big to-do with their Nintendo Directs, and then they go, oh yeah, hey, by the way, doop, here's all this amazing stuff. By the way, we're Nintendo, slap dick on table, here's what we got, bitches, and walk away.
Yeah. Meanwhile, so everybody, it was pretty much well established that Metroid Prime 4 was going to be announced. Okay? Which is, I think, why that was so disappointing. But there was also a rumor that a lot of people discounted that there was going to be a second Metroid game announced. And I think I kind of barely mentioned it during the last podcast. I just mentioned, there's another rumor that there may be 2 Metroid games announced, but we know for sure we're going to get Metroid Prime 4. We got 2 Metroid games announced. We got Metroid Samus Returns, which is a remake for the 3DS of the original Metroid 2, and this explains a lot, like a lot of people have said, of why Nintendo hit AM2R so hard. That being said, I'm not sure how I feel about this game. I'm not sure if I'm super excited about this game. Because I played AM2R, and Marky, AM2R was that good. And AM2R was a classic 2D Metroid in the style of Metroid Zero Mission. So it's hard for me to get excited of a Metroid 2.5D remake, because in my mind it has a lot to live up to, and that's kind of sad. So I'm hoping this is good. This looks like it might be good, especially the combat, which is one of the weaknesses of AM2R. That the fights with the Metroid forms did get a little stale as time went on. This looks like it might make things more interesting, but I still think that there's a lot that this game kind of has to live up to. But I'm excited. I want to see where this goes, where it goes from here, and it's so nice to know that Nintendo is not screwing Metroid fans over. At least this year. So, there we go. I'm not sure how you guys feel about the second Metroid Samus Returns.
I'll end this real quick. I've never played a Metroid game in my life. My boyfriend thinks it's a crime against humanity. Once we're finished moving, he is going to correct this issue, and then I'll play these. Da-da-da-da-da. Ooh.
This should have been a mainline announcement during their fucking direct! Not a Treehouse announcement, guy! Come on now!
Yeah. I have to say, there's one, if we got into disappointments, if there's one disappointment about the Nintendo conference, if you want to call it, I felt like it was essentially a conference full of withholding information, withholding footage and actual proper trailers from their fans. You either got trailers that barely gave you anything, or they just mentioned something and said, bye! There was no gameplay footage. There was a lot of... And here's the sad part. Later on down the line, via whether it's IGN or Rooster Teeth or just Treehouse streams, they actually gave you gameplay trailers. They actually gave you important trailers. Things that you should have seen during the conference. And I think that's why I find Nintendo's conference so disappointing, because it was essentially playing hard to get with their fans. It's the one time that, without a doubt, anybody who's interested in E3 is going to be paying attention to Nintendo, and they just kind of blue-balled everybody. They played hard to get, said, ha ha, moved along, and anybody who just watched that would feel that Nintendo had nothing to offer. And that is sad.
I'll play the other side on this one, or a little bit. I mean, they came out and they gave people a lot. You know, you got Yoshi, you got Kirby, you got Fire Emblem Warriors, you got Super Mario Odyssey, you got the Xenoblade Chronicles, you got 2 Metroid games coming. But at the same time, you're right. With the date with Nintendo, it's basically, they just kind of like rewind, and then we went to a strip club, and I went home with the biggest case of blue balls I have ever seen.
Just from watching, and I didn't watch. Nintendo was the only one where I watched the full conference. Like, I rewatched it. Like, I know that, you know, it was on YouTube by that point. I just watched the whole thing. And I didn't do that with anybody else. But I feel just from watching a lot of different trailers from the other conferences to get a feel of the conference, I got more from those. I got more from 1 or 2 of those trailers from the other conferences than I got from the entire Nintendo conference. And that's disappointing, because, to be fair, Nintendo had the most to offer.
Give them 2 to 3 months, man. They're gonna do what they normally do, and they're gonna come out with a direct, smack dick on table, and go, "We're Nintendo bitches. You fucking love us. Bye." Woof.
So, one thing that I'm going to gripe about that I was disappointed in, and this kind of ties in with Bethesda, but it was more shown here than I feel with Bethesda, is they are re-releasing Skyrim on the Switch, and it has amiibo capabilities that they show you, where if you scan your Link, now your character's wearing a Link costume and carrying around the Hylian shield and a Master Sword. Like, really? Is this something we really need? Have we not beaten the Skyrim horse to death?
No, because we had to see it in almost every fucking conference.
Which is why none of us mentioned it, because we're just so dumb.
No.
But I had to mention it here because I can't imagine Skyrim, like, this dark, gritty, like, kind of depressing setting on a Nintendo console. Which is why I think it surprised me. But I was like, really? Really? Can I? So if I scan, like, if I get, like, a Samus amiibo, can I scan that and he gets the Metroid outfit? Armor? That'd be awesome.
Is anybody else now imagining your main character, your Dragonborn, running through, and you just pan around, and he's wearing that Mario hat and has a mustache?
I was imagining him wearing Princess Peach's dress. Thank you very much. Because my Dragonborn is going to be the sassiest of.
Just make sure that if it's a dude in the Peach dress, name him Netu.
Damn you, Bob, for referencing Mario Party. Number 2, if anything, like, if we attempt to, like, if we scan that Link amiibo, and if he goes on to try to do, like, the Fougere doll, is it going to just be...
Yes. Yes, it would be. All right. We're going to wrap it here for the night. We're over 3 hours now. Unfortunately, for those of you that are watching on Twitch, we have decided not to do a Q&A because of how long this ran. We weren't expecting it to be this long, but some of us got a little more ranty than expected. It happens.
As expected.
I didn't expect it. Y'all are crazy.
I did.
I did. Thank you, Bulba and Eddie, for again inviting me to come back as MC. I appreciate it. For all of you out there, thank you for tuning in to this week's Critical Reset podcast, and we will see you next week. If you want to see us do this live, it is at 7, usually around 7-ish Pacific Standard Time, which is 10 p.m. over on the East Coast. So please feel free to tune in at twitch.com/Critical Reset, and we will see you then. Have a good night.